Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for our daily press review, and we're glad to be joined today by Dr. Mervat Madkour, Professor of Political Economy of the Middle East Research and Development. Good morning, Dr. Mervat.
Good morning to you, Niveen.
And we start as usual from Al Ahram. We read from its main banner, launching the project of the development of East Port Said. The President demands that the project should be carried out in 2 years only. The President says the whole world is paying the price of ignoring to really combat terrorism. And a sharp drop in the prices of food goods all over the country by the end of December. The Egyptians challenge that challenges. El-Sisi gives the go-ahead signal of the Suez Canal Access Development Project. The President says developing East Port Said will take from 10 to 15 years, but we shall conclude the project in 2 years. Still with the same issue, which made one of the main banners in Al-Masri al-Yawm, and we read, the mega projects enter the phase of challenging the challenges. The new airports projects the President kept hidden from the evil people, launching the East Port Said development project. El-Sisi gives the go-ahead signal and says we shall challenge challenges and conclude the project in 2 years' time. Al-Waziri says we're targeting to make the utmost use of the east of the canal area, and the effects will be reflected on the development of Sinai. And still with the same issue from Al-Yawm Al-Sabi', we read, the President gives the go-ahead signal of the East Port Said development project and assures the businessmen, saying, work for the Parliament will hold us all accountable. The President says, I challenge anyone who can do it in 10 years what we have done. The President says December is the month in which the prices of basic goods will drop. He says also, I assign the government to work to control the prices in December. The prices of basic goods shall drop. Dr. Mervat, how do you see the new projects that was announced yesterday, and especially the East Port Said, the development of the East Port Said access?
Mind you, this is I can consider it a mega project as well.
It's like the new Suez Canal.
Exactly. But it is the complementary to this project of the Suez Canal, which has been opened 2 months ago by the President. But what I want to say is that going into such big projects certainly will contribute to the development, economic development of each.
Of course, and of course to unemployment also.
Exactly. Because these complementary projects will create job opportunities, will as well, help into developing some of the products that would come on ships, and they can be developed or primarily developed, whether it be full development or primarily, it is very good for Egypt in one way or another. In addition, this will lead to the development of the area around the Suez Canal and of Sinai. If you have a developed area as is going to be, hopefully, because we all hope for the best for Egypt, okay, it will prevent any sort of invasion. Whether it be as happened in the 3 wars which were between Egypt and Israel, and as well, prevent insurgents coming from Hamas and building tunnels under the Sinai Peninsula. It will prevent such stuff.
Right.
And people, instead of just inhabiting the surrounding area of the Nile, which is the case, we are occupying 1/10 of our area. Now we are expanding. We are also thinking of developing the Western Desert, okay? And meanwhile, we are developing these areas, all for the benefit of the Egyptian person, for his well-being. And if you look at what has been accomplished really in the era of since June, when President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi became president till now, that's about how many months? I can say a year and another 5 months.
The president also gave his orders to accomplish this project in 2 years' time.
Why? For him, the time element is very important. Mind you, we are surrounded by people or by countries that have been totally destructed, like Libya, like Syria, like Yemen, like what was going to be planned for our country. So the real doing of going into projects as such, you know,
gives the
and
strength
mind
to
you,
fight
we are under extreme pressure by the West, who has some visions in their minds, not in ours, for this part of the world. The only way to combat what is going around us militarily is to develop economically to create an interest in the country that it remains intact.
How do you think this project also will affect, besides of course the unemployment, how do you think it will affect the economy
itself? Why? Because mind you, many companies have gone bust during the past 4.5 years.
Industries, a lot of industries have been closed down.
And this contributed to what? We have no production. We have no GNP at all. And meanwhile, we have 70% of our economy is an illegal or parallel economy to the economy that is contributing to our national income. Where is our national income? It has to come from what? We are only either renting services, or we've become an import economy.
We have to rebuild our industries.
Not just building again. No, we have to really start getting those who went bust into the economy. And meanwhile, we are creating new job opportunities that is now really built on a good basis, and hopefully the law of investment has been improved to facilitate investment and at the same time preserve our national treasure to us. Okay, if I come and invest in your country, I do not occupy you. You know, so it has to be under this umbrella of the new investment law. Meanwhile, President Fattah al-Sisi has also, you know, asserted the people because he knows what is going on in the society right now. People are complaining of the high prices, even of foodstuff.
Yes, this was stressed in his speech yesterday several times.
Why did he do that? Just to tell the people, I know your problems.
He's concerned.
Okay? I'm aware of it. And I'm doing all in my capacity to have these foodstuffs. At least you have a healthy person, not essentially a rich one. Okay? But this is very good because he had two ways. Either to say for the business people who really didn't do much for the Egyptian economy, while the normal Egyptian person has been able to collect 67 billion Egyptian pounds. How many did the whole
in 1 week, actually?
Yes, exactly. How did the business people, how much did the business people contribute to our economy? $6 billion, which is nothing.
It's just nothing.
Which is nothing in comparison to what Egypt has given these people all these years. So the only way was to compete with private entrepreneurs. And that's why we hear nowadays of big trucks, you know, carrying ready-made food at a very reasonable price. The co-ops, which were operating back in the 60s and have gone astray during the 70s, have been revived and have been supplied with chickens and meat that people used to see it only in Ramadan. Imagine.
Right, and back to Al Ahram front page, and we read Al-Sisi in Paris today to participate in the climate change summit. Al-Sisi arrives in Paris today and meets with the French president tomorrow. Egypt proposes 2 initiatives to provide Africa with electricity and finance the programs of coping with climate changes. President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi starts a 3-day official visit to France on Sunday to participate in the UN Climate Summit. El-Sisi is to address the opening session of the summit on behalf of the African leaders, emphasizing the supporting position of Africa towards a climate change agreement. And we have a report on this news item, and we'll be right back.
Thousands marched across Australia on Sunday on a 3rd day of worldwide rallies. This as pressure mounts on global leaders to strike a pact on slashing greenhouse gases at talks in Paris. Some 150 leaders, including President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, US President Barack Obama, China's Xi Jinping, India's Narendra Modi and Russia's Vladimir Putin will attend the start of the UN conference on Monday, tasked with reaching the first truly universal climate pact. The goal is to limit average global warming to 2 degrees Celsius, 3.6 degrees Fahrenheit, perhaps less, over pre-industrial revolution levels by curbing fossil fuel emissions blamed for climate change. Rallies demanding curbs to carbon pollution have been snowballing since Friday. Similar events were planned for Seoul, Rio de Janeiro, New York and Mexico City, among other cities, with scientists warning of superstorms, drought and rising sea levels that swamp vast areas of land if concrete action is not taken. This week, the UN's weather body said the average global temperature for the year 2015 is set to touch 1 Celsius, halfway towards the Paris Conference's attempted limit. On the eve of Saturday's protests, French President François Hollande, host of the November 30 December 11 talks, warned of obstacles ahead for the 195 nations seeking new limits on heat-trapping gas emissions from 2020.
Welcome back, Dr. Mervat. Of course, the Climate Change Summit in Paris is a very important summit.
Yes.
How do you see the importance of this summit from your opinion?
We all know why this global warming is occurring, why we have such a changed weather, okay? So that Egypt, till now, we cannot wear really heavy clothing.
This
right?
is true. It's very obvious in Egypt this summer.
Harsh summer, and it is expected to have a harsh winter as well.
Right.
So it's not just peculiar to Egypt; it's peculiar to third world countries as a result of the Industrial Revolution and the developing of the developed or advanced countries, which they label themselves to be so. And now when we want to develop as third world countries and as countries from Africa, they don't want us to use what they have used in order for their development. And we have to take the hard way, okay?
We always have to take the hard way out.
Of course. In order to answer this question, you have to read a beautiful book called How Rich Countries Became Rich and Why Poor Countries Stayed Poor.
Cannot.
Okay, by Eric Reinert. So the point is, they deny us to develop. Okay, and when it comes to them to pay us in order to do or to adapt to the new climate changes, they don't want to pay us. They say, you live with yourselves and get around it. But we can pay you in order to acquire industry because they will benefit from what they are going to give us. Okay,
Right.
so it is always their benefit, and we are just, you know, left behind and even characterized as being what? Underdeveloped. We say
Or developing.
or backward sometimes in the media. So what Abdel Fattah el-Sisi is going to say there, no, you have to pay for everything. We are not
We're looking
rich.
forward, of course, to this very important,
and I hope he
for his
succeeds,
speech at the summit,
because
of
he
course.
is
It's a very
good,
important
as I always said
event.
about our president, that in foreign policy, he is a pioneer.
This is true. And from Al Ahram front page, we read today the electoral silence starts and tomorrow the vote of expats. Intensive preparations to follow up the final round of the parliamentary elections. 10 complaints to the High Election Commission regarding electoral bribes, and the parties leave to their nominees the freedom of making coalitions. And the judges asked to go to Al Arish province. Of course, we are in the electoral silence period, so maybe we won't be able to comment on this.
No, next week I hope we will have then the final results.
The final result.
Yes, and I wish really that everything
and the runoff
goes,
is taking place on Tuesday and
Tuesday
Wednesday.
and Wednesday. And I hope things will run smooth as they ran in the preliminary one.
We're looking forward, of course, to a higher even turnout in the runoff.
I hope so. I hope so.
And back to Al Ahram front page, and we read the 4 police personnel fall martyrs in a terrorist attack in Giza. 4 new martyrs from the police in Saqqara. The investigations show that the assailants are from the elements of the Haram incident cell. 2 terrorists target a security checkpoint in Munawat in Giza with 200 bullets. 4 policemen were killed in a drive-by shooting near the Giza pyramids west of capital. A security source said the gunmen were driving a motorcycle when they shot at the conscripts who were among the forces securing the World Heritage Site. The source added that police forces were rapidly deployed to search for and hunt down the assailants. Of course, our condolences to the families of the martyrs.
Of these martyrs. But mind you, this shows what? Terrorism is everywhere. Okay.
Of course, we're seeing it everywhere, in Paris, in African countries.
The many calls for another third revolution in January 25th, I tell them you have no grounds. But we had all the right for the 25th and the 30th. But what is going on right now? You just want to topple the whole country? Abdel Fattah al-Sisi is doing his very best. And he's an honest personality. I admire the man for who he is and who he was. I asked him to become a president many times. I appealed to him on Facebook and in all my writings, by the way. Why? Because I saw the honesty in his eyes. I saw his devotion to the country. And I'm telling them, this is not the right moment. Let the country live and let the Egyptians live as well. Okay.
Right, and from Al Masri Al-Yawm we read one of its main banners: the Pope prays and refuses to visit the holy sites without the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar. The family of Abraham receives condolences in the Suhaga and refuses to travel because of the Israeli visa. Pope Tawadros II, Pope of Alexandria and Apostolic See of St. Mark, has attended the funeral of Archbishop Anba Abraham, the head of the Coptic Church in the Holy Land, in a rare visit to occupy Jerusalem and the first in decades. Earlier, Tawadros dismissed an invitation from Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas to visit the city of Ramallah. In a statement issued by Egypt's Orthodox Church, Pope Tawadros said that he did not come to the occupied Palestinian territories on an official visit, but only to attend the funeral of the late Jerusalem Archbishop. He added that the world never visit Palestine without the Grand Imam, that he would rather never visit Palestine without the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar. Dr. Mervat, your comment on the Pope Tawadros visit. He went on and...
very small comment. Look, being befriended with other countries is not a political decision. Okay? It has to come from within, from us as people. We have all the right to have grudges against Israel, because in every home of an Egyptian, someone has gone as a martyr in the 3 wars in which Egypt and Israel has gone to. So it is not a political decision. It is our decision as people with whom we want to establish relations or with whom we don't want to establish relations, no matter what.
In addition to the fact that he is not going to an official visit, he's going to for a certain mission.
Exactly, for
it's
a purpose.
A spiritual and religious mission.
Yes, just to give the guy who passed away, you know, his place.
He's the second to him, so he has to pray.
He had to.
He had to.
Okay, and I understand very much what he has done, though it raised so many controversies.
This is
but
true.
I am telling the people, Look, we are always hospitable, we are always complimenting others, we are always standing by each other in times of precipice. Like that. One has passed away who is very important to his church. How can he ignore him? Okay. We are generous always, and let's hope we can continue to be like that.
Of course, Dr. Mervat Madkour, Professor of Political Economy of the Middle East Research and Development, many thanks for joining us.
Thanks,
and have a good day. Dear
too.
ladies and gentlemen, with this we come to the end of the Press Digest. Please stay tuned. We'll be back to resume the rest of the segments of the Breakfast Show.